Welcome back to Parnell Park, where the sun has gone hiding, but it's still very, very warm ahead of this go-ahead Dublin Senior 1 Championship encounter of Kilmacud Crokes and Skerries Harps. Anything could happen in this group, Group 2. The other game, which will run concurrently in O'Toole Park, is Castleknock and St Sylvester's. We'll keep an eye on that one. We'll tell you what's happening. We'll tell you what it means. Basically, if Crokes win and Castleknock win, that's what one would expect to happen. But of course, we saw earlier on, the expected doesn't always happen. But if that does happen, those two are through. If that doesn't happen, it gets a little bit more complicated. Let's actually have a look at the group. There you go. So Kilmacud Crokes looking for 3 wins on the bounce. Castleknock got that victory earlier on against Skerries. They lost to Kilmacud Crokes. They played well in patches in that game. But they play St Sylvester's for the right to go through to the quarterfinals. Remember, the top 2 go through, 3rd place retains their senior status, and 4th place goes to a relegation playoff. 2 up and 2 down, by the way, in the senior tier in Dublin, between Senior 1 and Senior 2. So that's the group, Paul Clarke. This is a potentially good game.
Yeah, indeed. You know, I love the style of play of Kilmacud Crokes. I love the attitude that they have, the structure, the way they get about their business. New players are introduced, there's players come off the bench, and they keep to that pattern. You never see them getting flustered, you never see them getting nose out of joint at any time at all, and that's why they're all Ireland champions. Skerries, this really is a young and upcoming team. You know, three of that squad are even starting 15 today, or on the Dublin senior panel this year of all Ireland medals, you might as well say that. You know, you've 3 brothers are on the panel. You've guys who are fathers are all Ireland champions. Fionn O'Leary, John O'Leary's son. There's great history and tradition in Skerries in Gaelic football, and you know, it's throughout the team. And you know, looking at it, there's only a handful of guys over the age of 27. A lot of them are under 23. And this is a way of cutting your teeth, is going up against these guys here, your Paul Mannion's and your Shane Walsh's. So, yeah, it's not something that they should be nervous about. They should actually take it on board and really enjoy the occasion.
Well, let's have a look at the Kilmacud Crokes team. The changes are ones that perhaps you would expect. Shane Walsh and Paul Mannion are in for Dara Mullen and Dara Dempsey. David Higgins replaces Conor Ferris in goal. Now, I wonder, is that experimentation, or is that Conor Ferris perhaps paying the price for a couple of loose moments against Castleknock? A very good keeper, Ferris, no doubt about that. Made a save last year that won his team an AIB All-Ireland Club title. But David Higgins is getting the goal between the sticks today.
Yeah, all the eyes will be on him and see how he goes. You know, there is pressure situations for goalkeepers, maybe more than a lot of players. And like, if you're getting your opportunity, you want it to happen for you. You want to have opportunities to make saves, you know, deal with high balls. You want to actually get your kickouts away, be either short or long. And you want your full back line and your half back line to be comfortable with you being behind them. So, you know, it's going to be pressure on him, and you know, hopefully he does get tested today to see where he's at. Your forward line just speaks for themselves. You know, whether Walsh or Mannion went there, the 6 quality forwards with Crokes, put them into the game, and it's a different animal altogether.
There will be another late change to that team, by the way, because Craig Diaz is out. Now, that's a big loss. He's a very experienced player. So there is the bench for Kilmacud Crokes. Dara Dempsey and Dara Mullen, 2 fine players. They will probably get game time today. Tom Fox, we know what he can do. Callum Pearsall, the same. Warwick Purcell, along with his brothers, chasing another county medal today. Of course, he's 2 brothers playing in the senior hurling squad. Right, let's have a look at the Skerries Harps team. And of course, you've talked about some of the talent that they have already. Paul Clarke. Owen McGinley, interestingly enough, wearing number 11 today rather than his usual number 3. I wonder if that's where he will actually play. Stephen Smith is a man they will look to get scores. Kieran Murphy has an eye for goal, and Rob McKee will just work unbelievably hard. He'll get up and down the wing, he'll supply ball, but he's also capable of taking a point or two himself.
Yeah, that half-forward line of McKee, McGinley, McEnany, you're going to see them dropping back, I'm sure, and try and block up the defence. You know, as mentioned, Fionn O'Leary, John O'Leary's son. Ronan Gagan was minor only in 21. So it's not so long ago that he was playing underage football for Dublin, and now he's a chance of maybe marking Shane Walsh. Midfield, there's a bit of energy about them. They're big, strong guys. I'd like to see contests, and particularly Craig Diaz gone. I don't know who the replacement there it is. I'd like to see, the Skerries keeper put the ball out for those contests.
Well, the group, we just showed it to you there, but you remind you, Kilmacud Crokes on top on 4 points, having had 2 wins. Castleknock second, also on 2 points. Skerries Harps third on 2 points, and St. Sylvester's bottom of the group on no points. Skerries need the win today if they're to have any chance of progressing, and even then that might not be enough, but we will see what happens as the day progresses. Kilmacud Crokes in the purple and gold, Skerries Harps in the blue and white. Rory O'Carroll in midfield at the moment, along with Mark O'Leary. Let's hope we get a blockbuster like we got for the last game. That was a bit of a belter.
Yeah, Mark O'Leary's gone to midfield, and number 26 was added to the Kilmacud Crokes.
Andy McGowan.
Andy McGowan is going to centre half back.
Well, I guess when he was named in the squad, he was always going to play Andy McGowan. And Kilmacud Crokes have the first possession. Here's Aidan Jones. Dan O'Brien. Aidan Jones. Shane Cunningham. Going long. Too long. Just out of reach for Hugh Kenny. Shane Rice. Hangs up in the air. Dunn gets hands on it. O'Connor Flanagan tidies it up. Tidies it up well. Gets to Adam Fearon. Well taken by Killian McGuinness. Dan Terry played for Derry. Here's Killian McGuinness. Running onto it, Rob McKee. Kilmacud Crokes trying to hold them up. It's Al Shami. You can see what Skerries want to do. Move it quickly, move off the shoulder. McGuinness. Into the hands of Smith. They're in behind. Oh, McGinley. Unlucky off the woodwork. Skerries lose out in possession. That's O'Carroll. Advantage being played. And now the free will come. We will have updates, by the way, from O'Toole Park, where Castleknock are taking on St. Sylvester's. Dan O'Brien. O'Carroll. Soccer style, out to James Murphy. Dan O'Brien. James Murphy. Well taken, Andy McGowan. Lots of options, including Shane Horan. Horan pushed it into the path of McGowan. McGowan trying to slalom through. Still McGowan, somehow. And he's turned over. That's really fine tackling. Getting in there, Greg McEnany. The Shami. Greg McEnany. Tries to spray one. That's a really good take by Killian McGuinness. Smith. Stephen Smith trying to get away from the fullback Theo Clancy. Stephen Smith still going. Smith turned over. Strong defending by Crokes. Mark O'Leary. Aidan Jones. Mannion. Mannion. Looking for Cunningham. And Cunningham in a foot race here. Shane Horan joining him. Horan and Cunningham getting in each other's way. Skerries Harps get the break.
They were like skittles there. That was Ronan Gagan put in a shoulder and took down two at one.
Rob McKee. Fearon. Jack Smith. Good run onto the ball by Fionn O'Leary. Here's Greg McEnany. Thought about a shot, but then thought better of it. Absolutely surrounded by purple and gold. And it's a free out. McGowan. Dan O'Brien. Horan. Paul Mannion. McGowan. O'Brien. Shane Walsh. Horan's ahead. Walsh bottled up. Good tackling by Rob McKee. Shane Walsh. Dan O'Brien. Skerries with about 12 behind the ball. Here's Shane Cunningham. Cunningham lets one go. Cunningham. Good goalkeeping by Shane Rice. Very good goalkeeping by Shane Rice.
Yeah, dangerous ball. Full back and cornerback and a full forward in front of him, and he dealt with it very well.
Greg McEnany is on his haunches. You can't see that at the moment as Skerries trying battle to keep possession. Have they been turned over? Yes, they have. Crokes have it back. Here's Paul Mannion. Dan O'Brien. Greg McEnany back on his feet. Mark O'Leary. O'Leary is Shane Walsh out wide. Walsh. Walsh. And that's Shane Walsh to get the first.
Yeah, true. A nice little dummy stepped inside and sweet strike from that range and split the posts.
Shane Rice. The temperature has dropped a bit. I think the players will be very grateful for that because it was boiling between Nafina and St. Vincent's in every possible sense towards the end of the game, but very, very hot. Cunningham. Mark O'Leary. Shane Walsh. Mark O'Leary. Cunningham is free just outside the square. O'Leary stays going. Here's Cunningham. Cunningham takes his point. 2 points, both from Shane. Walsh and then Cunningham.
So as I thought, you know, keepers going long and high. Crokes are cute enough. They're breaking the ball and they're picking up the spoils of the breaks. It's well enough, good enough if you're putting it out high and long. You need to put players underneath it. Skerries need to be doing that.
Sean Rock's not available for Skerries Harps, by the way. He failed a fitness test. That's a huge loss. Horn couldn't quite hang on to that. Rob McKee. Skerries have hit the woodwork, but yet to get a score. O'Connor Flanagan. Kieran Murphy. Good play by Kieran Murphy. Well taken into the hands of Stephen Smith. O'Connor Flanagan doesn't catch it right. Might be something there for Skerries though. Ball bouncing away. Can he keep it alive? That's Owen McGinley. Much to his credit he can. Harry Dawson. He finds Jack Smith. Who finds a score, does he? He does. They deserve that.
Yeah, didn't give up on it. It was kept in well. It was quick hands then. And yeah, good little step off his right and then kick off his right foot.
3 points all from play so far.
You wanted them to get that score. You didn't want Crokes to go on and do a 4 or 5 points in a row type of thing. Yeah, nice to get it on the scoreboard in the first 7 minutes and, you know, pick it up from there.
Fearon. Well taken by Rob McKee. Fearon continued his run, but McKee went inside rather than out. McGuinness. Ronan Gagan. Dunn. He's big and he's strong, Dunn. He can finish as well. Dunn. And he can take the ball into contact and come away with it. Dunn! And he can score. He can do everything.
It's a super score. Took on a good hit from Rory O'Carroll there. Just shaped up his body nice and kicked off the outside the right boot.
Yeah, well, generally speaking, if you get hit by O'Carroll, you stay hit, but Dunn just kept going. And there he is again, holding up Kilmacud Crokes. That's Fox who spills it. Spilled kindly from McGowan. Cian O'Connor. Shane Cunningham. Paul Mannion. Mannion? That is audacious, but it's Mannion, so it's over.
So Crokes playing with the one inside Shane Cunningham. As soon as the ball is delivered into him, he has 2 or 3 guys running at him and giving him different options. He's a great ball winner, he's a great leader, he's a great captain, and he's a great footballer.
Rice. Breaks kindly for Harry Dawson. Well, he had to work hard to get there, but did fall his way. Cian O'Connor doing his best to try and turn it over. Skerries Harps hang on to possession. Here's Killian McGuinness. McGuinness. Roland Gagan. Fearon. Fearon lost it. Mark O'Leary. O'Leary aiming towards Cunningham. Support is now arriving. Cunningham up against Fionn O'Leary. Cunningham. What a score that is.
So if the support doesn't come, you just go do it yourself. It's a very good score from that angle. Well done, Shane Cunningham. And again, I think, you know, Adam Fernan stood up. Shane Walsh went past him and then got too excited and turned the ball over, and Crokes will punish you.
Ball falls kindly there for Greg McEnany. Greg McEnany trying to shake off O'Leary. He's done well. Greg Mack still going. Greg Mack could be in goal here. Greg McEnany takes his point in the end. Brilliant play by Greg McEnany.
They had no right to get a score from there. Like, it's so strong to stay up. And took on again. Fine score.
Maybe it's because Argentina are playing tonight in the Rugby World Cup. I'm thinking of great Argentine sports people, but he was like Maradona slaloming through a defence there, wasn't he? Fearon. Jack Smith. O'Connor Flanagan. Down the line it goes. Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith covered by Theo Clancy. Dawson. Dawson measures, shoots, and equalises. That's a really good score by Harry Dawson.
Yeah, they're working hard for their scores, and they're certainly worth the leveler score as well. They're putting a lot of energy into this game so far.
Ball delivered to Cian O'Connor. It's 3-on-3 inside. Cian O'Connor. O'Connor will take it on himself. And miss. Rice. Good take by McGuinness. Very good take. O'Connor Flanagan. McGuinness rides the tackle. Greg McEnany's drifting in behind. It's McGuinness who carries it. Smith gets the shot away. It's wide. It would have been Skerries' first time to lead, but unfortunately Stephen Smith couldn't keep it on target. Higgins. Theo Clancy. Clancy is dispossessed, regathers, lies on the ball. Referee allows it. Clancy back up. They're trying to push him out over the sideline. The ball stays in play even if Clancy doesn't. And here's Greg McEnany. Really good battling and work by Skerries Harps. Greg McEnany. Greg McEnany. And Skerries lead for the first time. McEnany second. You can see why he features in sky blue as well as the blue of his club.
I thought it actually went out of play there and hit off one of the players that was off the pitch, hit their head and came back in.
Play the whistle. Fearon. He's got a runner outside. That's McKee. Here's McKee. Picks out the pass well to Greg McEnany. Here is Kieran Murphy. One of a few Kieran Murphys who've played in the Senior 1 Championship this year, including the one from Castleknock. And the second captain's Kieran Murphy, who played in goal for Templeogue. And it's a free in for Skerries Harps and a chance to increase their lead. Four points apiece, by the way, is the latest score between Castleknock and St. Sylvester's in O'Toole Park. That's a good score by Killian McGuinness, his first. Skerries worthy of their lead. And they've scored 4 points in a row. 4 quick fire points as well. Higgins. Where's the break going to go to? McGowan is trying to make it his and does. Sorry, I got that score wrong, by the way. It's actually 3 points to no score in favour of St. Sylvester's against Castleknock. So 3 points to no score in favour of St. Sylvester's. That could really throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Greg McEnany and Rory O'Carroll are in a bit of a battle at the moment. They need to kind of not get involved for both of their sakes. Here's Aidan Jones. Andy McGowan. Shane Walsh. Slips it off to Cian O'Connor. O'Carroll. Shane Walsh. Wide.
It's a water break now.
Well, it's flown by. 6-4 Skerries Harps lead. They were 4-2 down. Then they got 4 points in a row. Kilmacud Crokes have kicked a wide since. Skerries lead by 2, and they are very much worthy of it.
Yeah, a little bit of a shootout. Nothing wrong with that. Some very good scores. Crokes are working their scores well and taking them well. Whereas, you know, Skerries have to really, really work hard. And it's been individual, I would say, excellence and brilliance that's got their scores. Particularly Greg McGuinness and Greg McEnany and Killy McGuinness, they're the scores that they got done as well. So, you know, so far they're definitely deserving of their win, but Crokes won't be, or their lead. Crokes won't get too flustered yet.
Well, let's have a look at some of the highlights while I try and figure out the group as it stands. You can talk us through this. Ethan Dunn, what a score that was.
Very, very strong. Just lent his body to the left, hit it on the outside of the right boot, and shaped really nicely over the bar.
As it stands, by the way, it will be Crokes and Harps who go through. They'd both be on 4 points. St. Sylvester's would move to 2 points. They'd be level with Castleknock. What that would mean for relegation. Well, it would mean Castleknock would go into relegation because they're currently playing St. Sylvester's and they'd have a better head-to-head. So there we go. But there's a long way to go yet. Robbie Brennan, the manager, having a word with his team, no doubt disappointed that they're 2 down, but there's a long, long way to go yet. 5-1 St. Sylvester's lead at the water break against Castleknock. So as it stands, and I'll repeat that there's a long way to go, Kilmacud Crokes and Skerries Harps are going through to the quarterfinals, and Castleknock, who would have gone into today expecting to win, they would have been the favourites. They could find themselves in a relegation scrap. At this early stage, there is a massive caveat on all of that. Here's Rice to get us going again. Intercepted by O'Carroll. Shane Walsh. Walsh poking one through and finding Hugh Kenny. Shane Cunningham. Shane Horan. Back inside to Kenny. Well, inside but kind of out towards the corner flag. Mark O'Leary. Shane Cunningham. Aidan Jones. Dan O'Brien. Are Crokes just trying to take the sting out of Skerries here and hang on to the ball for a while?
No, I think this is why Crokes play themselves anyway. They understand. They just create the space, get a couple of runners in, and then they take the right option.
Space for Jones, who gives to Kenny. Back outside. Cian O'Connor. Paul Mannion. Mannion. Even when he drops the ball, he makes it look skillful. Here's Mannion. O'Carroll. Great hand in there from O'Connor Flanagan. Brilliant work. And Skerries Harps get the free out. They are putting their bodies on the line here. They're showing no respect to the All-Ireland champions.
Yeah, Paul nearly turned it over, and then it was a poor enough pass to him.
Skerries Harps on the transition. Down the line from Dawson, Smith chasing after it. Theo Clancy chasing after him, but it's Smith who has the possession. Smith trying to create space. Smith just eventually ambushed. I hope he's not claustrophobic, because so many Crokes players are closing in on his space every time he gets the ball.
They obviously done their homework and know the threat that he causes, and a bit of a mismatch in height between Theo and himself. But he's doing a good job so far, Theo Clancy is.
Shane Cunningham riding the tackle there. Shane Walsh, he's got Mark O'Leary inside. Shane Walsh will take the score if he can. And that's 2, maybe 3 bad shot selections he's had. He's had at least 1 wide, it could be 2, and then that one as well.
Yeah, bad execution. And the head went up. It's not something you normally see Shane Walsh do, but this is what he does. He then helps with the forward line to try and close things down and try and turn the ball over. So then he shows a little bit of energy.
McGuinness. O'Leary. Rob McKee. Rob McKee still going, driving on, good run. Kieran Murphy. Kieran Murphy trying to get away from O'Carroll, who fouls him. And now the advantage is given.
Actually, the type of play that Skerries have, these strong bursting runs, the long bursting runs, if the weather was as it was for the first game, maybe a bigger challenge. Temperature seems to have dropped a little bit and might just help them.
Remember, if 3 teams finish on the same amount of points as McGuinness lands another score, his second of the game. If 3 teams finish on the same amount of points, it then turns into a mini-league between those teams. I say that because at the moment, it could be relative, or relevant, I should say. Theo Clancy. O'Carroll. Higgins. Jones. Dan O'Brien. Jones. Mannion. Mannion trying to get away from O'Connor Flanagan. He's sticky, isn't he? McGowan. McGowan outside, and it's lost by Aidan Jones. Kieran Murphy.
There was that pressure that Skerries put on. He tracked Andy McGowan, and he was under a little bit of pressure with the hand pass and overplayed it a bit.
Shane Rice. Fionn. He's got Fionn O'Leary ahead. He's still going, Fionn. He glides, doesn't he? And that's a good dispossession by James Murphy. Shane Cunningham. Cian O'Connor. Shane Cunningham. Paul Mannion. Andy Fox. Shane Cunningham leaves it behind. Regathers. Mark O'Leary. Mark O'Leary. Little show and go from Mark O'Leary. Shane Walsh wants it, but Mark O'Leary will take on the shot himself, and you can understand why. Kilmacud Crokes get their first score since the 10th minute. Don't forget, tomorrow, Lucan and Raheny live on Dubs TV at 2 o'clock. The 4 o'clock game between Ballantyre and Ballymun will be live on TG Cahir. Cian O'Connor. Mannion running into the corner and receiving. Ronan Gagan following him. But what can Mannion do here? Mannion. Good score. And there wasn't much else Ronan Gagan could do.
He did really well. He stepped inside and he was able to keep his balance and was maybe only a small bit away from getting a good block in. Yeah, a good score. Like the last 2 passages of play, it's Shane Walsh is making the moves inside. Now it's Paul Mannion goes inside. Shane Cunningham has been in there for long periods.
It's going to drop, and O'Leary is going to win it. Here's Shane Horan. He's got O'Leary with him. Ferrin is down, so Skerries Harps down to 14 as we speak. Here's Mark O'Leary. Shane Walsh. And normal service has been resumed by Shane Walsh. That's his second of the game.
I was going to say around the time of the water break, I thought like Skerries were doing so much better around midfield with McGuinness and Dunn being out and out two midfielders. And in Crokes, you know, you have Rory O'Carroll, who's in great shape and had a great season last year as a midfielder this year. And young O'Leary, you wouldn't have known him as a midfielder. The two of them, you know, are a make-up partnership. But in fairness to them, they're digging in, and O'Leary's having a fine game the last, say, 5 or 6, 7 minutes. He's come into it an awful lot.
Was Fionn O'Leary's dad, John, a keeper who played out the field for his club, or was he in goal there as well? You have to forgive my ignorance on that one.
No, he played a lot of football out the field, and he was half decent, and he wasn't half bad.
Fair on.
Did I say
Good take.
Half mad as well, did he?
Well, he was a goalkeeper, so I assume that. Here's Kieran Murphy. That's a high challenge. And a free, rightly awarded. Not the most vicious thing in the world, but definitely a free. Shane Horan drawing the attention of the referee. Our referee, by the way, is Colin McCarthy. So Killian McGuinness looking for his third.
Again, he has a nice routine to what he does. It's something you can see that he practices.
Just caresses it over. That's
it's very
beautiful, yeah. Well, that ends a run of 3 in a row for Kilmacud Crokes. That's what they're looking for in Dublin as well, isn't it, this year? Here's Higgins. Dan O'Brien. McGowan. Mark O'Leary. Wanted it back from Hugh Kenny, but Kenny hangs on to it. Dan O'Brien. Aidan Jones. Can he get the shot away? He can. Can he get the score? He can't. Cian O'Connor, it was smothered. And Rice wants to keep it in play.
Yeah, I don't know whether he thought it was a half a block.
Yeah, maybe he did.
Instead of going out for a 45.
I think someone actually did get something on it, to be fair to both the keeper and Cian O'Connor. It's a good block. Shane Rice. And Shami. Skerries playing a dangerous game. Squirts loose, and here's Shane Walsh, the last man you'd want. Walsh, good save. It's a point, but it could have been far worse.
Rory O'Carroll copped a bad one in the face there now, and he made a challenge, and he got a bit of elbow under the jaw or under the nose.
Once again, O'Carroll not afraid to get hurt, not afraid to put his body on the line. Rob McKee.
Let's credit the keeper. That was a good save as well. It was well struck. Straight at him, but he had to make the save. It was good.
O'Connor Flanagan back to McGuinness. Ferrin. Greg McEnany. Bottled up well by Clancy. Kicked it away to El Shami. Smith. Jack Smith gets it back. Jack Smith gets the score, his second.
Yeah, we were expecting Stephen Smith to get the scores. In fact, Jack is the one that's getting the scores at the moment. The Smith family.
And Skerries lead again. Andy Fox. Horan.
McEnany trying to run off a bit of a knock there. He got about 30 seconds ago with a pass that he made with his left foot.
McGowan. Dan O'Brien is free. Mark O'Leary. O'Carroll. Well, he spotted the free man running through there. It's opened up completely for James Murphy, who gets the pass away. Hugh Kenny. Goal. Well, Skerries Harps had done so well defensively up until now, but Crokes just cut them apart there. A very good finish by Hugh Kenny.
I wasn't sure what there was some sort of call being called out by the keeper, and the cornerback made that run from like the 70-yard line. I didn't think Rory O'Carroll's seen him, but he did, and executed a little pass in over. And
let's have a look at that goal, because Greg McEnany, as you pointed out, was struggling. Now he's getting some treatment, so let's have a look at that goal.
He made a run from 70 yards out through the middle, and Rory just picked the pass so nicely, you know.
Great work by Murphy. Great finish by Kenny. He is a real goal poacher, isn't he, Hugh Kenny?
Yeah, he can get them for them. He was one of the scorers the last day, the last championship game.
Mark O'Leary. Horan. Shane Walsh. Shane Walsh. Mark O'Leary. Paul Mannion. 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 That is just delicious from Paul Mannion.
How do you stop that? Like, he knows his range, he knows what he's capable of doing. He's on song today, and you know, it's my dad would always say a good left footer is better than a good right footer. When you're watching that all day long, I'm not going to argue with him.
He knows he's football, your dad.
I didn't say that. He just likes left footers.
He knows one thing at least about football. We'll give him that much. I'll get him talking to my dad about sweepers and hurling. I'm sure they'll have a great conversation.
Yeah.
Here's Shane Walsh. Now Greg McEnany has had to go off for Skerries Harps. That is a huge, huge blow. Here's Shane Walsh as we head towards injury time. O'Carroll. Sean Rocks couldn't start. Can't play any part from what we're hearing. Failed a fitness test, and now Greg McEnany has gone off. So Skerries Harps dealt two huge blows ahead of and then during this game.
And at the time of the goal as well.
That's right, Greg was down, wasn't he? Yeah. So it opened up a gap. And no better team to exploit a gap than Kilmacud Crokes. Hugh Kenny lost the ball there. There's a real scramble. It was rescued brilliantly by Aidan Jones. That shot from Paul Mannion is wide. Two miracles in a row would be too much to ask. Skerries Harps have shown great resilience in this game already. Dawson. O'Leary. McGuinness. Al-Shami. Smith. Man who they need to get on the ball a bit more. Stephen Smith goes loose, but it's Skerries who secured the possession. Jack Smith. Can they take advantage here, or there was just too much on it towards Owen McGinley? McGinley is being tracked by McGowan, who just shepherds it out of play. And that's half-time. 3 between them. Kilmacud Crokes lead 1-9 to 9 points. The goal coming from Hugh Kenny. We'll get a look at that and the rest of the highlights of the first half shortly. But Paul, what have you made of it?
Yeah, it's been very enjoyable. The occasion hasn't got to Crokes or to Skerries. They've played with a lot of energy. Their scores have been really good. And you cannot switch off with a Kilmacud Crokes team with this quality and a style of play that they do have. And the goal came from them being patient. And these runs that blanket defences find very hard to stop. These runs from deep, cutting through gaps. If if it doesn't take the attention of a defender, you're going to get free. If it does take the attention of a defender, well, then someone else can get through there. But no, they should be. It's been a good game from Crokes' point of view as well. Paul Mannion's on a bit of form, as is Shane Walsh. Two of them have started. They weren't due to. Midfield, I thought O'Leary has played very well for Crokes as well. Yeah, no, it's been a good game so far.
Let's have a look at the highlights of the first half, starting with a Shane Walsh point that came after 6 minutes. Nice score. That was to be followed in the same minute by Shane Cunningham, making it Crokes 2 points, Skerries Harps no score. Then Skerries got 2 in a row, the first from Jack Smith. Really well taken, great footwork, great finish.
And you can see the difference there. You have to work hard for these scores. You know, they're not being made easy by Crokes. And like I said, it's a bit of individual skill there, as there was for another 2 or 3 other scores. A little bit easier for Crokes. Play the ball in, man is free, and then support comes, and then you have Mannion score. Is something that we hear regularly.
Yep, the first of 3 for him in the first half. Shane Cunningham stepping up with his second of the game. That was a good one from a tight angle. Defender tried his best, but not much you can do about that. Greg McEnany then making it a 1 point game with this fantastic score. And, well, he's now out. He's on the bench because he picked up a knock and he's a huge loss. Killian McGuinness was the score after Harry Dawson got this one. So here's Harry's score first. That made it 4 points apiece. That was the equaliser at the time. Then they went ahead. Greg Mack, his second. 5-4 at that stage. Killian McGuinness got this free, the first of 2 frees in a row for him, making it 6-4. Then this one to make it 7-4. A 3 point game at that stage, 19 minutes on the clock. But then Crokes responded with 3 points in a row. The first from Mark O'Leary, the wing back. All of these points, by the way, from play in this particular run. He's looked good, hasn't he, Mark O'Leary?
Yeah, he's done well. He was named at wing half forward. He's gone to midfield for Craig Diaz. So I was a little bit, worried would that partnership work. And with Rory O'Carroll's endeavour and hard work, and then this guy's ability, it has worked well for them.
Shane Walsh with the equaliser. That made it 7 points apiece after 22 minutes. And then McGuinness put Skerries Harps back in front to the tune of 1 point. Good score. Kept it on frame. It was followed by a Shane Walsh score to make it 8 points apiece. It was actually a good save, wasn't it? Powerful shot, and he had to move his feet well. But then Jack Smith made it 9-8. And that was after 27 minutes. And here is the goal. This made it 1-8 to 9 points in the 28th minute. Great running there from Murphy, having been set up by O'Carroll. Hugh Kenny, who's just a shark around the square, isn't he? It's followed by Mannion with more Mannion magic. So, what does all this mean for the group as we stand, as the crowd enjoy a nice warm evening here in Parnell Park? Well, I can tell you it's 6 points apiece at half-time between Castleknock and St. Sylvester's in O'Toole Park. That's obviously in this group, Group 2 of the Go-Ahead Senior 1 Club Football Championship. Kilmacud Crokes are leading. That puts them in 6 points. That means they'll have won all 3 games and they go through as group winners. St. Sylvester's and Castleknock are drawing at the moment, so that would put Castleknock on 3 points, which means they'd finish second as it stands. And it would put St. Sylvester's on 1 point and Skerries Harps would be on 2 points. So that's actually pretty straightforward. I'm figuring this as I talk to you. So just try and be patient and bear with me. So Kilmacud Crokes are on 6 points as we stand because they're winning this game. Castleknock would be on 3 points, so they'd finish second in the group. That would put them through. St. Sylvester's would have 1 point. They'd finish bottom and go to relegation. Skerries Harps would finish third and maintain... they'd guarantee that they would maintain their Senior 1 status. So, 1-9 Kilmacud Crokes, 9 points Skerries Harps. That's the score at the break. You can join the conversation via social media, #GoAheadDSC. Don't forget, lots of great stuff on the Dublin GA social media channels and, of course, the website. And if you didn't see it earlier on, Vincent's against Nafina, it was a cracker. Even if you're cut for time with all that's going on in your busy life, Just watch the last maybe 10 minutes. It was manic. Hashtag spoiler alert. I won't say any more. Maybe don't watch it if you're an Athena fan. That's a bit of a spoiler. 1-9 Kilmacud Crokes, 9 points. Skerries Harps will be back with the second half. Welcome back to a warm Parnell Park. Not as warm as it was earlier on. I bet the players are glad of that, but still quite a pleasant evening. Kilmacud Crokes leading by 3 at the moment, so as it stands, they are going through to the quarterfinals as group winners, and Castleknock will join them because they're a level at the break in their game against St. Sylvester's. Sylvester's will end up in the relegation playoffs as we speak. Skerries Harps will be third in the group and will retain their senior status. Kilmacud Crokes going for a 3 in a row in Dublin. It is not easy to do. They join us for the second half. That goal just before half time has Kilmacud Crokes in a very good position. We might actually take a look at that as we're waiting for the players to come out for the second half. Mark O'Leary, you can see him walking beside, walking into midfield there. There's O'Leary, slipping it, well, lobbing it, chipping it, whatever way you want, to Mark O'Leary, to James Murphy, I beg your pardon. And then Hugh Kenny finishing it well. And that is the goal. They'll be going into the second half in O'Toole Park very shortly as well. That one started at the same time as this. Tomorrow, don't forget, Lucan and Raheny live at 2 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, Ballantyre take on Ballymun. That's a big game. You can watch that live on TG Cahir. We will have the game between Lucan and Raheny. Away we go for the second half. Paul, what are you expecting?
Yeah, probably more of the same. Like Skerries will get a bit of joy early on, hopefully, and you know, keep them in the game. You never want for anybody to run away with it. But look, you know, Crokes will be patient. They'll take their time. They'll take their scores. It's just if Skerries get that opportunity that they take theirs.
Owen Wild came in for Skerries Harps in the first half, replacing Greg McEnany. Greg's a big loss, but Owen is decent. He played underage for Dublin. And Skerries Harps get a line ball. They need a good start to the second half. It's a high boomer inside. There's no one really there to battle for it, and that was a free catch for Andy Fox. Maybe there was a miscommunication. Maybe the sun was in the eyes. Mark O'Leary. Referee has spotted something off the ball. There's a player down. Theo Clancy is down at the moment. Of course, you won a minor All-Ireland with his dad, Niall. And was it 84?
Yeah, 84, yeah. Niall was corner forward, and Theo's now an interesting player that I think he's great talent.
It was not actually Theo who's down. It is, I think it's Dan O'Brien. Yeah.
I think Dan took the catch, did he, from the sideline ball, and as he was laying her off.
Okay, third time lucky. Andy Fox. It's Andy Fox, yeah. You were right. He took the catch and maybe took a knock in the process. Sorry to cut across you.
Yeah, I don't know what the ref's looking for, but it's a blood sub.
Yep.
And a player that would have been viewed as a possible and potential Dublin player is Liam Flatman after coming in. That was number 27.
Mannion. Mannion pushes it out to centre back Aidan Jones. Shane Cunningham is an option. James Murphy. Dan O'Brien. Cian O'Connor. Flatman is kind of hugging the sideline.
Yeah, he's wearing 27, but I think he's number 17 in the subs. Really strong player and a very good cornerback. Had an awful time at hamstring injuries, like continuous, one after the other, and threatened his career. So hopefully he gets a good run this year.
James Murphy. Paul Mannion. Mannion. It's a good tackle. He wanted the free. McGuinness. And Skerries Harps counter-attack. What can they do on the transition? Harry Dawson. Slips it to Kieran Murphy. Murphy is fouled. Free in for Skerries Harps.
Yeah, Paul was looking for free there. Thought he was being smothered, but more stood up than that else and lost possession. And quick counter attack, good speed by Skerries, but I think we were expecting that anyway from them.
McGuinness doesn't give that any more than it needs. First score of the second half goes to Skerries Harps.
That's the blood sub being changed again.
Higgins. Fox, who seems to have recovered from whatever knock he took. Fox receives from O'Brien. Here's O'Carroll, back to Fox. Theo Clancy. Mark O'Leary. Horan. Tightly marked by O'Connor Flanagan. Horan turns on the afterburners, loses the football though. Was he held back? Nonchalant pick up by Horan. Good turn. Horan doesn't get the shot that he wanted, but he was being fouled, so it's a free in. And he knew that. Mannion. Shane Rice has the cap on. That tells you the difficulties of the kind of low wind, well, not winter sun, but September sun. One point apiece in the second half, with Crokes leading 110 to 10. Rice. O'Carroll couldn't get it under control. Cian O'Connor uses his soccer skills and then his Gaelic football skills. Here's Mark O'Leary. Put a lot on that solo, but was able to keep possession. Mannion. Good pass. Hugh Kenny. Is he being fouled? No. Mannion wants it. Shane Walsh. Shane Cunningham. McGowan. McGowan. Horan. McGowan continued his run, but he was covered. But left absolutely free is Cian O'Connor. Cian O'Connor! Great save by Rice. His second good save of the game. Kilmacud Crokes win the free in, so they'll get something out of the attack, but it could have been and should have been more, only for Shane Rice.
And a better save, but look, because his own player was right in front of him as well. It was hit his body hard. But, his own player was right in front of him and able to make the save. Great reaction.
No, and that was Fionn O'Leary who was in front of him, who would have an understanding of how goalkeepers work, and he was there to pick up the break. Shane Walsh puts it over. 3 for him now. Skerries win the possession. Can they get something from this attack? Racing down the line is Rob McKee. Skerries run out of room. Crokes get the line ball. It's just relentless pressure from them.
And rather than commit to the tackle, they all just like shepherded them onto the sideline, and there was nothing they could do.
Mannion. Mannion into the corner, looking for Horan. Mannion. Mannion delivers towards Hugh Kenny, who receives it, passes it back. Cunningham. And Cunningham guides it over. It's worth another look, that.
Yeah, well played by Mannion. People might have thought he was setting up for the shot, but nice pass inside and quick hands. And this is Crokes at their best. Just having the scoreboard ticking over. And then you have a forced error. What will they do? They'd probably go and punish it now.
Well, it's that first 10 minutes of the second half that you always have to be so careful against the good teams. So many championship teams, as we'll call them, they're always so dangerous after half time or the third quarter or whatever way you want to put it. But Skerries aren't done yet. Here's Ethan Dunn. Well taken by Jack Smith. Smith drops it in. Higgins does well. Higgins goes wandering, gives to Cian O'Connor, who in fairness went for the goal when he got in on goal that time. He could have just popped over an easy point, but it produced a great save out of Shane Rice. Hugh Kenny just about keeps it in. That's great play.
It's great skill.
Horan. Advantage was being played free for Kilmacud Crokes.
That was great skill. Just flicked it. And then a little chip as well. Did very, very well. Crokes are always talking. There's frees being taken, it's been set up, and they're communicating what they want and different things. So they've always got a level head and their understanding of what they want to do and what's being asked of players. It's really, when you're at a game, you see and hear so much more of it.
That's Shane Walsh. And it's all looking a bit ominous for Skerries Harps now, isn't it? And because Castleknock beat them, it means if they finish on 2 points and Castleknock finish on 2 points and St. Sylvester's finish on 2 points, then it actually comes down to scoring difference. And in that case, I'd have to look. So all hope not lost. Yeah, Castleknock would have a much better scoring difference, but it would depend on the score of their game against St. Sylvester's. Adam Fearon. Fearon lets one go. It'll be some score if it goes over, which it does. A much needed score for Skerries. Their first since the 34th minute.
Yeah, he'd been playing at right half back, and he's actually been playing most of the game on the left side now in the second half, and go down the left part and cut in on his right was really good score.
There is nothing wrong with their work rate as the ball just gets away from Mark O'Leary. They might be in behind. Stephen Smith, his team need it. And he has, unfortunately, not provided. The referee indicates wide because Stephen Smith is saying it was over. And he paused. I thought for a second he was pausing to have a word with the umpires, but he's pausing so Kilmacud Crokes can make a change. Going off, by the way, is Aidan Jones. And I think that's Flatman back in, is it?
It is, yeah.
So Flatman, who got some time as a blood sub earlier on, back in now. Castleknock have gone on a bit of a run on it against St. Sylvester's. So 10-9 Castleknock lead. That's at the water break. Castleknock leading 10-9. So as it stands, this group, fairly simple. Skerries will be third. Sylvester's will be fourth. Castleknock will be second. Crokes will be first. That's as it stands. Shane Walsh. Shane Walsh trying to get away from O'Leary. Shane Walsh gets the shot away. Rice keeps it in play. Well, as I say, in football, we've got Lucan and Raheny tomorrow at 2 o'clock. The 4 o'clock game between Ballantyre and Ballymun is live on TG Cahir. Next week, it's back to hurling. Kieran Murphy. Murphy Capable of getting goals right now. He'll settle for a point. Or the creation of a chance. No, it went wide. Unfortunately, Ethan Dunn couldn't keep it in play.
Ref was holding up there. The Skerries got another sub in, but he delayed it.
Rory O'Carroll using his experience to just throw the ball into the terrace and give his team time to set up defensively. Can Skerries Harps get a score or two before the water break and play their way back into the game, back into the championship? As it stands, they're going out. Long, high, lofted ball. That's off the boot of Stephen Smith. Will it break for Blue? Yes, but they have to work hard to get it back. Here's Owen Wild. Is Wild fouled by McGowan? No. He's pushed right out to the corner by Paul Mannion, who strips him of possession and carries the ball out. Here's Flatman. Well, there's no egos in that team, is there? Paul Mannion not afraid to kick monster scores and beautiful scores, but also do the hard work at the back. Cunningham. It's a trait of all good teams, isn't it? Here's Cunningham. He's got James Murphy ahead of him. Murphy. Held up. Can he get the ball out? Free in has been awarded.
I'm sure Skerries people are asking how that may not have been a free up there and something similar down here. That's the cuteness of Crokes pushing someone to the sideline. There's not nowhere you can go and then turn the ball over and up the pitch in 2 or 3 seconds.
Skerries making a change. Coming in is Owen Smith.
That's the 3 brothers on now.
Going off Kieran Murphy. He's battled incredibly hard. Off camera, he's walking off. He's kind of moving slowly. He's got his shoulders slumped. Doesn't look particularly happy. Shane Walsh does what you'd expect. And that's the water break. What have you made of it so far, with Kilmacud Crokes leading 114 to 11 points and looking good to top the group?
Kilmacud Crokes playing like Kilmacud Crokes, just keep the scoreboard ticking over, doing very, very well. Skerries have to work hard to get the ball up the pitch, and they want to get as many scores as possible, but that hasn't happened for them. Very much in control. Crokes will probably empty the bench now. You've seen Flappin come on. You might see Pearson or Fox, Tom Fox coming on just to give him game time as well. If Darren Mullen is fit, maybe he didn't start because of an injury. You'll see that happening, and they'll do it as composed as they can be.
Well, Kilmacud Crokes have 1 goal. It could have been 2. Let's have a look. Well, that's not the chance or the passage of play I'm referring to, but that's the first half. That was a goal chance. The one I was talking about was Cian O'Connor, where he bore in on goal and was inside the square, but Shane Rice produced a magnificent save. And the sun has gone in, so I'm not sure Shane Rice needs the cap anymore. Play about to restart. Kilmacud Crokes getting the tactical advice on board. When the water break is there, you might as well use it. As it stands, Castleknock leading against St. Sylvester's still. That's in O'Toole Park. They started at the same time as us. So it's Kilmacud Crokes who lead the group on 6 points. Castleknock second on 4 points. Skerries Harps third on 2 points. St. Sylvester's bottom on no points. Sylvester's will hope to stay in Senior 1, having only come back up last year. Beaten, of course, by St. Vincent's in the Senior 2 final. That's a break that McGowan collects and gives to O'Leary. Here's Dan O'Brien. Cian O'Connor. Paul Mannion. He's got a runner outside. That's Andy Fox. Instead, he goes inside to Cunningham. Continues his run. Mannion dispossessed. Now, what can Skerries do now that they have the football? McGuinness. Dunn. Dunn moves it on. Rob McKee, Dunn. Good turn by Dunn. Great work by Dunn. O'Connor Flanagan has to go backwards. Fearon.
That's where they lose the impetus of the attack. You know, now Crokes have the shape, have the numbers back.
Fearon. Jack Smith. Jack Smith, good shuffle. Jack Smith. Jack Smith still with it. Jack Smith has to go back outside. He's found McGinley. McGinley, who hit the woodwork in the first half. Doesn't miss there. Good score by McGinley. They worked hard for it. They earned it. Skerries Harps making a change. Robbie Clinton is also in, by the way, for Skerries Harps. And going off is Rob McKee.
That's Greg McEnany back on. Obviously, he got a bit of a taping on his ankle. He's had to come back in there. He's on Theo Clancy.
It's like in WWE when they kind of appear out of nowhere and you don't expect them. And there doesn't look like there's too much wrong with Greg McEnany. He's sprinting after Liam Flatman there. Flatman continues his run. Flatman has the ball. Hugh Kenny is free in the square. Flatman comes off the woodwork. I think Rice had it covered anyway. Let's have another look. Yeah, Rice did have it covered. Jack Smith. Fearon. Jack Smith. Smith. Good running off the shoulder. Harry Dawson. Greg McEnany. Owen Wild. Release the ball. Fearon. Goes short. McGuinness. McGuinness. That's beautiful from McGuinness. His first from play. And 2 in a row for Skerries Harps.
There's a bit of a gait about him that reminds me of Shane March. I said about his structure when he's kicking his frees. That's not a bad comparison, but he is a footballer in his own right, and he's very, very good. I really enjoyed looking at him today.
Well, that's the first time that Skerries have scored more than one, if you know what I mean, since the 10th minute to the 19th when they scored 4 points without reply, or was it 5? It was 5.
This now, I'd say, is just on Harry's range. As long as he doesn't force it, he's well able to kick in this.
That has to turn back in an awful long way, and it won't.
Just forced it a bit.
Yep. Higgins. Murphy. Murphy. Goes short. It was risky enough. Murphy tries to collect it on the break. Luckily for him, Theo Clancy kept his cool. Here's O'Carroll back to Higgins. Fox. That's a good take on the run by McGowan. He's still going. Shane Walsh. Back towards McGowan. Can he get there? McGowan! A half volley point.
Yeah, Andy was away in America for a couple of months and, you know, enjoyed himself over there. Probably played a little bit of football. Maybe didn't work. I don't think he was working over there. But, you know, it was a chance. It's great that he gets back. And I think, you know, great for Crokes. And I think there's potential there as well, as you know, for a number of years to get a run with Dublin.
Stephen Smith has won a free. He will take it himself. Smith. Good score. A needed score. His first of the game.
Yeah, 52 minutes on clock, his fourth point, and how important he is to Skerries. So better if he had been on the score before now.
Well, they're still hanging on in there, Skerries. Dan O'Brien. James Murphy. Paul Mannion. Advantage coming. Advantage over. Cian O'Connor. Shane Horan wants it, but O'Connor just carries it on. Cunningham. Mannion. O'Carroll. O'Carroll juggles it to Cunningham. It seemed to take forever to get to Mark O'Leary. Walsh. Shane Walsh. Shane Walsh bringing it in to a better position for a shooter. And you can see why.
Crokes bringing in two there now.
Crokes making a change. Coming in is Jeff Kenny. Also coming in, Porrick Purcell. Shane Horan has, as always, left it all out there. Now he's getting a well-earned break. Andy Fox going off as well.
And that's just the extended panel now, Crokes, fellas, that maybe not so familiar. Game time, to get game time now. It's such a, it's an important game for them, and see where they're at.
Hugh Kenny. Kenny attacks the inside shoulder and wins the free. When they start running at you at this time of the game, I imagine for defenders it's really, really tough.
Heads are dropping a little bit on the Skerries team. Greg is trying to, he's trying to lift them up a bit, trying to G them up. Say there's a bit more in you.
Castleknock by 2, by the way, against St. Sylvester's. They still lead by 12 points to 10. Shane Walsh kicks over another. That's his second in a row. So as it stands, the group looking straightforward. Kilmacud Crokes going through his winners. Castleknock going through his second. Skerries Harps third. St. Sylvester's fourth, and into the relegation. Here's Ronan Gagan. A little bit of afters there as Fionn O'Leary kind of has a nibble to win the ball back from Andy McGowan, or to get the ball back from Andy McGowan, I should say. McGuinness. McGuinness still driving on. McGuinness.
The Crokes try to set traps. They don't throw an awful lot. One into a tackle. They try and get 2 or 3 and try and set that trap. A bit of fight about Skerries at the moment all around the pitch. There's a couple of little battles going on, a bit of pushing and shoving. That's not going to fluster Crokes in any way at all. If it G's up Skerries, so be it. As long as they don't get in trouble and lose any men.
Well, they're still hanging on in there, Skerries. They're battling for everything. That was McGuinness again. They could do with a goal at some point. They're running out of time. James Murphy. Shane Walsh is the intended target. Really fine defending, nipping in their own McGinley. Mannion's won it back. Now the referee wants to word with Owen McGinley because he had it, himself and McGowan came together, and then McGinley wasn't too pleased with what was happening, and the referee has actually given a free to Skerries Harps. So whether it was for verbals or just that little bit of late contact, I don't know, but either way it's a Skerries Harps free. And it just goes to show if you speak up, sometimes you'll get the reward. Owen McGinley got the reward there. Don't know would the free have been awarded even if he didn't speak up, but he did. And now Fearon is driving on. Here's Fearon. Fearon still. What a score that is. What a point that is. He's second of the game.
That's that senior quality about him. Like, he's been in with a Dublin team, and you know, when Greg had gone off, he showed a little bit of spirit, and he's actually shown it a bit more now, and it suited him coming from the left wing and cutting in. Knocking off his left foot, really good score.
I think that might be Callum Pearson wearing 24 as opposed to Purcell. Yeah. That's off camera at the moment, but that was a change that Kilmacud Crokes made.
Crokes now are lining straight down the middle for the kick out, and they'll all break up. The previous one, they clustered in around the 50-yard line and broke out from that. So obviously there's different patterns of play, and then it's up to the keeper now to find the spare man.
Mannion under real pressure there. Great battling from Owen Smith. Mannion just boots it down the line. He has found Mark O'Leary. Mark O'Leary lost it. He's pickpocketed brilliantly by Jack Smith. Dawson. McGuinness. Dawson wants it back, gets it back. O'Leary. Fearon might go for another roaming run. He's being chased here by Jeff Kenny. That's a good take. Moved on. Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith shaping up, but giving to Greg McEnany. Greg McEnany going for the pass. He's looking for Jack Smith, who he has found. Here's Jack Smith going to ground, getting the pass away, and it's a free in.
It was a great run by Jack, and Greg spotted him out lovely. He made a run from the 50-yard line here in the left and was straight through. Andy McGowan sort of contested in the air, but was very well won.
Castleknock have scored a goal, so it's Castleknock 1-12, St. Sylvester's 10 points. So it looks like Castleknock are safely through to the quarterfinals.
Andy McGowan got the yellow card there. He was involved in an incident earlier on where he tried to slow it down, and Fionn O'Leary got involved, and he's been a little bit frustrated since then. He's had an incident here in front of the box here, and that was followed up by another tackle there, so I think themselves had to get the yellow card.
Stephen Smith edging Skerries Harps closer. 3 points in a row they've got. It has them within 3 points of Kilmacud Crokes. That's really interesting the way they're lining up there. You can't see the full picture of it on camera, but pretty much every player is standing on a line along the middle, as you pointed out a minute ago. Kilmacud Crokes have primary possession. Dan O'Brien, Liam Flatman. Flatman goes to ground. Free in for Skerries Harps.
And a little bit of action here as well, just to keep the temperature up.
A draw would still be enough for Kilmacud Crokes. It wouldn't be enough for Skerries Harps. Now, the referee has a decision to make here. Rory O'Carroll has had his jersey pretty much ripped off him. I think there was a bit more to it maybe than just the jersey being ripped, but until the referee takes action, we don't know. We'll go off what the referee has seen as opposed to what we think we've seen.
Yeah, the game has just been trying to slow it down, and Skerries are trying to get up and get on with it. And you know, Rory's in the thick of it. I think it was Owen McGinley got in and done a little bit of tailoring for him. Mightn't get a job in Louis Copeland's, but
Skerries Harps dropping inside, and Crokes have the possession. They have the football. They have Dan O'Brien just booting it clear. Sorry to cut across you, Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, so that's, I think, what the involvement was there. Referee was right in the thick of it and seeing exactly what was going on. But you know, it makes things a little bit tasty at the moment.
Ball into the square from Stephen Smith. Skerries Harps need a goal. Even that won't be enough, but they definitely need one. Here's Greg McEnany chipping it back inside. Higgins diverting it away. It's still there. There's a scramble on. Higgins is hacking at it. Mark O'Leary takes it out, and now it's Paul Mannion. Mannion. There's no one to aim at from a Crokes point of view for Mannion. It was intercepted by Ronan Gagan. Ronan Gagan with the high diagonal towards the square. Can they keep it in play? No, they can't. It's wide. Now, the referee seems to be indicating that maybe he has seen something here. The way he's walking back in towards the goalkeeper and walking down towards the umpire, I think Rory O'Carroll's going to need a new jersey, by the way, because he looks like the Incredible Hulk at the moment. The only thing is O'Carroll never goes into ordinary mode, whereas the Hulk sometimes does.
It's the first time I've ever seen a fella step out of a jersey rather than pull it over his head. That's what he had to do. Yeah, that was a dangerous enough ball by McEnany there. Keeper didn't deal with it 100% right, but you know, got it out and got cleared. Skerries are going one-on-one everywhere. They're pulling, they're dragging, they're trying to stop that.
Here's the battle for possession. Skerries Harps still have hope, and they have the ball. Long dropping ball. O'Carroll back in his traditional position. Make sure of it.
That is class.
Mannion.
That's just class.
Callum Pearson. Mark O'Leary. Liam Flatman. James Murphy. Flatman. O'Carroll. Murphy went down off the ball. I wonder what the referee has seen. It is a tense ending, isn't it?
Fionn O'Leary might have been involved in something there. Like that from Rory O'Carroll is just class. You know, you just cannot teach that. You cannot, you know, train it.
Black card for Fionn O'Leary. Full-time score from O'Toole Park. Castleknock 112. St. Sylvester's 110. Castleknock through to the quarterfinals, where it's likely they'll be joined by Kilmacud Crokes. St. Sylvester's on their way to a relegation playoff. Hard on them because they played some good football in this group, but unfortunately for them, it's played 3, lost 3. That's a bit of a loose one, but it finds its way to Shane Walsh. That's the full-time whistle. Kilmacud Crokes win the game. Kilmacud Crokes win Group 2 of the Go-Ahead Senior 1 Football Championship. Kilmacud Crokes go through to the quarterfinals as group winners. They are joined by Castleknock, who finished second. Skerries Harps finished third. St. Sylvester's finished fourth. 117 to 17 points, the final score. Paul, your thoughts, please.
Crokes, not at their best, but that's the way they play, and they kept a very consistent scoreboard ticking over. Quality in defence, summed up by Rory O'Carroll's catch there right at the end when it was needed. O'Leary at midfield is a bit of an asset now that I see him there, but they have players to come back in, and up front between Mannion early on scores from play and Walsh in the second half is freeze. Scoreboard was ticked over and they played well. Skerries hold their heads up high. They went toe to toe with the All-Ireland champions. We're a very young, inexperienced team, but a lot of players who have inter-county experience at underage, minor, and under 20s. So like they're a team on the up, and they'll finish in third place. That's the cherished thing for them, that they have something there to still aim for next year.
They wanted to go through to the knockout stages, but they have maintained their senior status. It's something, but they'll consider themselves maybe a bit unlucky not to have gone through. For Kilmacud Crokes, it's something I've said about them over the last couple of years. Good as they are, they like to make a game of it, don't they? They like to give opposition teams a chance.
Yeah, it's teams could get flustered by the occasion, and maybe an older, more experienced team, but no, look, we're out of this. But the do or die effort by Skerries there at the end was something that it's probably innocence on their part, but it's so important that that they do take something from the game, they look back on it, and push on in their own leagues. And like the thing about them guys, that three of them are on the senior panel this year, they're bringing a huge amount of experience and knowledge and hope for the team when they come back in and play with them. So that's important. Game time for the Crokes lads. There's a few new faces and new names that got runs out there, and are looking at what's happening now. The guys that didn't get a run are going to do a bit of a blowout as such.
Yep. While
the rest of the team watch and encourage and support them. So that's what champions do.
So Kilmacud Crokes win this by 3. Let's have a look at some of the highlights of the second half. The end of the game, I think. Greg McEnany dropping it in. Higgins getting something on it. Crokes making the break go their way. That was a goal scramble. Had that gone in, then Skerries had a serious chance. It didn't, but they did stay in touch, Skerries Harps. And who knows what might have happened if Greg McEnany was able to stay on for the whole game. It is to his credit that he came back in and actually affected it in a positive sense, but it just wasn't enough in the end. So Paul Mannion guiding that one over. Shane Horan went inside to Cian O'Connor, and what about this for a save from Shane Rice?
Yeah, he sort of put his body to the right and got his hands across to the left, which makes it even a better looking save.
It certainly does. Shane Cunningham putting that one over. I think that was in the 38th minute, and that made it 112 to 10 points. Shane Walsh making it 113 to 10 points. But Fearon got this wonderful point to keep Skerries in it. Made it look so easy. Anything but, though. However, guess who responded? Shane Walsh with a free. Then Skerries went on a mini good run. McGinley and McGuinness with points. This is the first of them. Oh, McGinley. And this is Flatman, who had a goal chance and clattered the woodwork. And Kilmacud Crokes were, would you say punished? I'm not sure, but McGuinness got the next score after that, if you know what I mean. And that made it 13 points to 114. Andy McGowan on the half volley. Was he going for goal, or was he happy to take the point? Only he could tell you that. Stephen Smith got a free to make sure it was 4 points of a gap. But then Shane Walsh got 2 in a row for Kilmacud Crokes. Not quite enough to see them home at that point. Well, it did end 117. But even then, even after those 2 points, it wasn't done. They had to withstand a bit of a barrage from Skerries Harps, who threw absolutely everything. They scored the next 3 points, Skerries Harps. They needed a goal at some point. They didn't find it, but McGuinness scored this free to make it 15 points to 117. Then Fearon with another amazing score, running from deep, taking on the entirety of the Kilmacud Crokes defence and putting it onto his left and getting it over the crossbar. This is where maybe they had to go for goal. It was 16 points to 117 at this point. So I suppose Stephen Smith asked, and you could see it there, how much time is left. He was told, and he said, right, we'll put it over. We'll make it a 3-point game. Now, what happened here? This is the first time I'm seeing it up close. That doesn't really tell us much. This is a scramble for the goal. Crokes got the possession, came out to Greg McEnany. Higgins got something on it, and there was another couple of nervy moments, but Crokes survived. So Kilmacud Crokes are through to the quarterfinals. The defending champions, last year's beaten finalists Na Fianna, are out. What does that tell you about the go-ahead Senior 1 Dublin Football Championship? It's tight. It's competitive. Na Fianna, to be fair to them, missing 4 big players, and I think it cost them in the end. St. Vincent's getting the 1-point win there. Not as close here, but almost as exciting. Kilmacud Crokes getting the win. As you can see, Lucan taking on Raheny tomorrow. We'll have that live on Dubs TV. Ballymun against Ballantyre is live on TG Cahir. Just to confirm and to tidy up this group before we move on and preview tomorrow. Castleknock beat St. Sylvester's 112 to 110. That means that Kilmacud Crokes go through as group winners on 6 points, having won all 3 games. Castleknock second on 4 points. They go through as well. Skerries Harps avoid relegation. It's something. It's not everything. It's not what they wanted, but it's what they have to settle for. St. Sylvester's are in the relegation playoffs. Just before we go, tomorrow's groups, tomorrow's games. In Group 3, if Thomas Davis beat Coola, then Davis will go through. If Raheny were to win, they would also go through. So they play Lucan. That's on here. You can watch that game live on Dubs TV. Throw-in is at 2 o'clock. Later on at 4:15, live on TG Cahir, not Dubs TV. So just keep in mind, you will have to go to TG Cahir tomorrow for the second game tomorrow. Ballyboden are already guaranteed top spot in Group 1 because they've already beaten Ballantyre and Ballymun. If it's a draw between Ballymun and Ballantyre, Ballymun go through on scoring difference, but the winner goes through. Ballantyre against Ballymun is like a knockout match. Temple Oak will finish bottom regardless. What are your expectations for Group 1, first of all, tomorrow? Ballantyre and Ballymun.
You know, Ballymun, I think, are on a little bit of a wane. It's difficult to try and keep players coming through at underage and bring them up into the senior panel, and you've got the same players, the Rocks and the Smalls and the Paddy and John Small and the McCarthy's, and you know, other players around them have there for a while. Again, they're a bit like a Vincent. They just don't go away. They want to be in these bigger games. They want to be, you know, competing in them. And you know, you would think that maybe for the occasion they might just step up and do it. But it's not going to be easy for them. You know, and they want to be playing at their very, very best as it is the moment to get a win.
What about the game that we've got live, Raheny against Lucan? It's a hard one to call, isn't it?
Hard one to call. I got a bit of a look at the team list, and I don't see Brian Howard. I don't think Brian was named in it. Would be a loss to Raheny. But like Fento and Sean McMahon are huge to them and important to them. So, you know, Lucan haven't gone well this year. I was surprised. I thought he would have been a bit better in the championship. Maybe the dual club thing hasn't helped him. But you know, I think Raheny should have enough on the day to get through that one.
Okay, Paul Clarke, thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow back here in Parnell Park. Lucan against Raheny is live on Dubs TV from 2 o'clock. After that, Ballymun against Ballantyre is live, but it's on TG Cahir. And it will certainly be worth a watch. It'll be busy up here tomorrow in the TV gantry. We'll have to make ourselves small in the corner, Paul. Can someone of your height make yourself small?
What's it say? No one keeps baby in the corner or something like that.
I did not have you down as a Dirty Dancing fan.
There you go. Was that the movie? I didn't know that.
Of course you didn't. That's it from us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Congratulations to Kilmacud Crokes, who go through as group winners. Castleknock go through as second. Earlier on, St. Vincent's took on Na Fianna in what was a really titanic battle, an exciting game. As I say, if you're tight for time, watch the last 10 minutes. If you can watch the whole thing, it's an entertaining match. But the last 10 minutes was just craziness, frantic, entertaining, all of the above. Don't forget, you can join the conversation via hashtag GoAheadDSC. All the scores from the weekend on the Dublin GA website, not just from senior grade, by the way, also senior 2, intermediate, junior, etc. You can check them out there, and the table ramifications of the game that your team was involved in. My thanks to you for joining us. Hopefully you'll join us again tomorrow. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.